I'm back. The Localisation Support Fund has released the findings of its study on the value chain mapping of South African transmission and distribution networks. The study looked at the allocation of South African manufacturing capability to value chain elements and opportunities for localisation. To unpack this further, I'm joined by the Fund's Tami Moache. Thank you so much for speaking to us on SAT this evening. So, we drastically need to improve our transmission and distribution infrastructure for better energy service delivery. That much we know. But in this dark picture that is our energy crisis, there's a silver lining in that it presents an opportunity for local manufacturing of components needed for the infrastructure development. What do those opportunities look like according to this study?
Good evening, Sally, and good evening to your viewers. So according to our study, South Africa has capability to produce, for example, support structures for transmission. So that would be steel lattice towers. It would be wooden poles. Of the estimated spend on overhead lines within transmission, 45% of that is lattice towers. So it's a huge spend, and South Africa has capability to manufacture those. We also have capability on cables, specifically underground cables, the low voltage and medium voltage cables that are used in the distribution space. We have an opportunity to localize and also increase capacity for conductors. We have capability in transformers. South Africa has capacity and capability on Class 0 and 1 transformers, companies like Actom, just to name one. And then whilst we don't produce large transformers, we have a company that produces classes 2, 3A, and 3B. Now, this is an opportunity to increase that capacity. So those are opportunities that are coming through from this report, just to name a few.
So this infrastructure development is hugely reliant on billions and billions of rands worth of investment. Is that all we need to leverage the opportunity, or are there other blocks in this chain that also need to fall in place before we can access those opportunities for local manufacturing?
There's various blocks that needs to be at play, Sally. One of them being consistent demand for manufacturers, where we don't have peaks and troughs, but we have stable demand that ramps up to meet, for example, the 14,000 kilometer lines that have been quoted. We also need to solve for projects such that they don't get delayed. So if we announce that we're going to do projects, we mustn't defer them or delay them. That's the second one I would mention. The third one is around the specialized skills that we require. We used to have some of the skills that we need, but because over time we haven't done these projects, we are lacking in some of the specialized skills we need. So we need to solve for that as well. And then regulatory environment that is restrictive, for example, around standards and compliance. We need to solve for that. We need to be able to say what compliance is required for the South African environment, and that would go a long way. Certain countries, for example, invest on their R&D and innovation, which is why then they thrive, because then their cost of production is leveraged out by those innovations. So we also need to invest and spend in that space.
I can only imagine what the job creation opportunities would be once those blocks fall into place. So that's another absolute big hit for South Africa. But going even further than that, could we leverage this opportunity further to venture into exports of these components?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can, Sally, especially where we have capability. You know, we talk about conductors, we talk about line and substation hardware. We have specialized skills there, and we have the capability, and we have the opportunity to export those. And what I would say is that with this investment that's coming to the country, yes, jobs will be created, but we'll create new industries as well, or we will revive industries that have been dead. And with the demand then that comes, there's an opportunity to provide both for local and export markets.
Thank you so much. I mean, it's so refreshing to know that every dark cloud does still have a silver lining, despite the chaos we find ourselves in. It was great to speak to you. That was Tami Moache, the Executive Head of the Localisation Support Fund.